Folks, when you hear this music, you know exactly where you are. I want to say hello to all our old friends and welcome back. And as we're getting into the groove and the rhythm, I'm also welcoming all the new friends. And if you could see what I can see right now, she's already dancing on the screen. Today, we're going to have an amazing episode. This is something I was introduced to her. She hails from all the way Tacoma, Washington. But here's a connector for her and I. Not that I was raised in Boston, but she was raised in Boston. So being in Boston and actually having the pleasure and honor speaking to her, that's kind of a connector, isn't it?
Sure.
Now, the other part is this. She has an incredible story. And people call her not only amazing, I can tell you she is super energetic, but also one of the things her friends call her is the field general. She will share a little bit of a bittersweet story about her family, but she also has an amazing story in regards to being a competitive athlete in track and field. She is an amateur sprinter. And listen to this one. She's in state competitions, national competitions. Her husband coached her for a long time. She has now a professional elite coach who is an Olympic sprinter. She ruptured her Achilles. Talk about a comeback story. And she's still running again. Now, we're talking to a state champion of Washington State in 2017 in the 100 meters. And she now and today competes at the National Senior Games 4 times, or the 4x100 silver medalist. She's a national ranked 50-meter sprinter, or dash as they call it. And she is 100-meter ranking, if I have it correct, and I'm sure she'll correct me, ranking 17th. And she's placed in the last competition, the national competition, she's placed 7th. And then I asked her also, and that'll stop the introduction, the dumbest thing she's ever done. And it's a really funny and such a relatable story. She was telling me about when she went to college, there came recruiters. And she was interviewing because she was intrigued by marketing and retail and fashion retail, which she has a thing or two to say as well about. And after the interview, she stood up and she walked out the door. There was one of 2 doors. And she picked the one that was the closet. Good one. And I am so super honored. She's right here with me, Madonna Hanna. Madonna, welcome to Raw Rants. I'm so intrigued about our conversation the first time and so much more curious to hear even more today. Welcome to Raw Rants. Honored to have you here.
Why, thank you so much, Stefan. And I'm glad to be on Raw Rants, and thank you for that introduction. Here I am. Let me tell you this about her. Yeah, she walked into the wrong door. It was a closet. Yes, I wish that I could. And I heard the interviewer behind me go, oh.
I love it. You know, it's so interesting. You've lived a full life, and you're still in this. I mean, every time I speak to you, I think I said this to you. We spoke late in the day, my time, and I said to you, this was like a perfect way to end the day. The energy you come across with, and guys, if you're listening to this, you can already tell this. If you're seeing it, you can already tell as well. But immensely grateful for that from your side. But having said that, I also know you are today not just a role model to a lot of people. I know you're teaching people. I know you're mentoring people. Share some of those things where people listening, you know, they may be going for recruitment. They may be going for an interview. They may be going into the early stages of their career. And you can look back at a life of fullness, of experiences, and taking that particular experience. Why the recruiter goes like, well, go, right? We judge people by maybe one action, even though we don't really know them. And I think that's something you and I spoke a little bit about before. Tell me about that piece a little bit, maybe the life experience you had in that respect, and the moments that we can create, but also the moments that are a fraction of who we are, and people judge us by it.
I'll start off with the story about me being in my very first really important job interview. As a professional in the fashion industry, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, I went on to become a fashion marketing
Right.
educator. I would tell my students about that story about here I am, nervous, wanting to do my best, preparing, wanting to do my
Yeah.
best for this interview. And it was in a place that was comfortable because the recruiters came to the school and the room
Sure.
I had been in so many times. I had had classes in that room. And here I am in this very, very awkward situation that I placed myself in. The message I would give my students is make sure you are aware of your
Mm.
surroundings.
Hmm.
When you go in for an interview, check. Just
Yeah.
give a quick glance around the room, see if there's more than one
Yeah.
door.
Right.
just,
Right.
just kind of be more aware. And two, when the unexpected happens, first, it's not the end of the world. It is not.
That's right.
It's going to feel like it's the end of the world, but it's not. In my case, looking back, I wished I had just laughed. Because I'm thinking, oh, should I close the door behind me and just stay in here? Let me just stay in here. All right. But no, I exited, I smiled at the interviewer, and then I went out and I went
I
out
love it. I love it. That's so good. That's so good. What is, I mean, you were just talking about retail and fashion marketing. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, or maybe it's how do you say it correctly? Retail fashion marketing?
I was I started my career as a retail executive
Right.
and then became a fashion merchandiser at a national women's apparel manufacturer.
Got it. So the advice, kind of the short lesson for people in interviews, in retail marketing, in retail and fashion management, what would you tell them today from the perspective of where you kind of look back at now and you say, you know what, this is things that I've learned, but also I've taken them forward because you have an extremely, extremely competitive spirit as well, which
Yes.
makes you a national competitor and somebody
Yes.
who's like
Yes.
ranking in the top 10 and top 20 in the country.
Yes.
And how does that translate into that? And I know you shared with me graciously that some of your friends call you the field marshal. So that also tells me, though, the way I get to experience the grace, the pleasure you project into the world, the energy, you have a good sense of balance, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Most days I do. uh, when my advice to people who are looking for employment and who are looking to find a job in a specific field that they
Yep.
feel that they have a passion for,
Yep.
do your homework.
Mm.
Find out about the business company corporation that you want to work for.
Hmm.
Find out who their competitors are. Find out what they're good at. And then look inside yourself and look at your experience and be prepared to tell them how you can contribute to what they're doing, to what their goal is.
Mm.
I know that in interviews, sometimes there's a particular question that an interviewer may ask. Why should I hire you?
Hmm.
I've learned, and I've told my students and other people I assist Never say, because I'm the best person for the job. First of all, you don't know that. You don't know that you're the best person, and you really haven't answered the question.
Mm.
You should hire me because your goals are. And this is how, from my experience, my expertise, my
Mhm.
skills, talents, this is how I am going to be able to assist you to move forward to achieve your goals.
Right. Right. Right.
And be ready to share at least 3 things about yourself. Maybe reiterate something that you mentioned before in the interview, or sometimes this is an opportunity to bring up something that you forgot to
Mm.
mention about yourself, because that
Mhm.
happens too in an interview.
Yeah, I always tell people the best thing is that very quickly you project yourself into this us situation, right? When I work with you, us, we can accomplish the following thing, which makes also the interviewer or the interviewers think of you as being part of the team, which makes such a big difference.
Exactly. You want to see yourself as part of the team, and that will come across because you've done the homework.
Hmm.
They know that you cared enough to do the
Yeah,
homework.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. Now, I got to say this because you shared it with me, and it's such a funny story. So I know the two companies you worked for in Boston. I'm not sure if Jordan Marsh was in Boston, but Jordan Marsh I know is one of the
In
ones
Marsh,
where you
downtown Boston, yes.
in downtown Boston. But the other one we talked about was Filene's Basement, the old good Filene's Basement, which was in
Oh, geez.
government, that downtown crossing area. And then you said, shopping is a thing for me. So you're like a recovering shopping addict, like we all are a little bit, right? And so talk to us about these Filene's Basement fights. Was that crazy?
You and I have experienced Feline's basement.
Yep.
Uh,
It was the
Feline,
first thing when I came to Boston, Madonna. I told you this. When I came to Boston, people said to me, "Oh, Filene's Basement is unbelievable." And I think I shared the story with you. I had my hands on the same suit like another guy, and
yeah.
it's like basically, I mean, literally, Filene's Basement was really Filene's Basement. It was not like it's the first floor. No, it was basement. And I had my hands on the same suit. And if one of probably your colleagues then or previous colleagues would have not stepped in and said, "Sir, I saw that he had his hands on that suit the
Mhm.
first," the guy, he would have probably got into a fist fight with me over a stupid suit. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean,
It, it would have been, let's get ready to rumble
right, right.
over suit.
Oh my god! I mean, one of the stories I always heard about was that story at Filene's Basement when they would sell the wedding dresses. Right? Was that crazy?
Yes, absolutely crazy. There would be this fabulous shipment of wedding dresses, maybe from Bloomingdale's or Neiman Marcus. And first of all, you and I know that you can enter Feline's basement through the subway when
That's
you're
right. That's
you
right.
when
There
you're
was that exit
coming in
there.
through
Yeah.
the subway, that basement entrance.
Yeah.
There might be people already pressed up, pressed up against the door, just waiting to get in. And once that door is open, boom, get out of the way because the stampede happens. And here you could probably see some of Boston's most proper ladies and young ladies charging and snatching and grabbing a multitude of gowns, because you got to grab an armful. And
Well, guys, listen carefully. Unfortunately, Filene's Basement does not exist any longer. But if you're ever at a door locked, here is the technique Madonna teaches us: grab as much as you fucking can.
yes, just grab an. See, in the case of the gowns, just grab an armful. Okay, your mother, your grandmother, you grab an armful, and then you have somebody standing guard over the pile because, as you know, well, no, come come on. As you know, there weren't any dressing rooms in
That's
Philadelphia.
right.
There
That's
weren't,
right.
there weren't
That's right.
any
That's
dressing
right.
rooms
You're
in
right. You're
place.
right.
So here you are with your pile of gowns, grandma and mom just guarding, and you're stripping down, putting the gowns on,
That's
and
fantastic.
heaven forbid if somebody should snatch, as you know, should snatch a gown or reach for it, then the fight was on. And as a manager, there were times when I did have to step in or yes, speak up about, ladies, come on. uh, yes, yeah.
I
It's
love that.
it's
That is
like you said,
fantastic.
yeah.
That is so good.
It's
That is
rough.
so good. So observing this competitive spirit between women catching gowns, right, and walking out of there. I want to talk a little bit about, quite a bit about your track and field journey. And I know there's a personal story behind it as well that's very closely connected to that. Because I know your husband, who I believe passed in 2019 of cancer, and I'm again so sorry about that, which I know had a huge influence on you taking up that dream and coaching you into becoming, really, I mean, a national world competitor almost. And now I know you're coaching with someone else, but take us through that journey a little bit, track and field, what it means to you today. And maybe as an inspiration, also people listening who go, well, I'm like in my 60s, I'm not going to start running again. Or am I, this is so rude when I ask that question. Everybody listening, forgive me. Madonna, most importantly, forgive me. Can we talk about age?
Please do. It's a
Okay,
raw rant.
she's
Let's
insisting.
do
So Madonna is in her late 60s now, almost turning the clock onto the 7, and which is amazing. I think you're 69 now. Is that right?
Oh, you got it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I'm just so fascinated by this. And she's running, competitively the 100 and the 50 and the 4x100 and relays and everything else. And it's just incredible. So take us through that story a little bit, and how did you get inspired to do that? And was it always a passion of yours?
Thank you very much for asking. And for those of you who are listening, I want to start off by saying absolutely anything's possible. Absolutely, positively. As a child, I watched the Olympics and I was enthralled by the sprinters. Afterwards, I would play 100-yard dash in my backyard. And of course, I won. I won. Of course. Of course I did. On the playground, I was fast. As you get older, uh, dreams of being an Olympian kind of went by the wayside. The high school I went to did not have track and field for girls, guys only.
Hmm.
I went into the fashion industry, eventually became a fashion marketing teacher. And at the ripe young age of 57, I had an overwhelming desire to run 100 meters.
I love it.
It was as if God's universe said, Madonna,
Madonna, go run the 100 meters now.
Yes, yes, that was the voice. That was it. And I said, what? I'm a fashion marketing teacher. It's 2011 and I'm 57 and I'm a fashion marketing teacher. And I'm going, what? Run 100 meters. Run 100 meters. Could not shake the feeling. People have asked me, well, did you run before and then now you thought you would revisit it? Absolutely not. I had absolutely no prior experience whatsoever. I mentioned it to my husband, and he had track experience,
Hmm.
a lot of it.
Hmm.
And I said, I'd like to run 100 meters. I didn't tell him, the universe told me. I just said, I want to run 100 meters. And he said, okay, I'll coach you. Just do what I say. Like, okay, ladies, come on. You know how that goes. And I know ladies are out there. What did you do? Okay. But anyway, I did what he said. He was old school. He had me walking and jogging up hills and down hills with a backpack filled with 5 pounds of bricks.
I love it. Oh my
also,
God.
also ankle weight. Now, I didn't know this was old school until I met my new coach.
I was gonna ask that question. At what point did you realize that was old school and there's new school?
Well, with my millennial coach,
I love it.
that's how I
Yeah,
found
we're
out.
gonna talk about that in a second too.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
so anyway, my husband entered me into the 2011 Washington State Senior Games. And I'm like Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run, Madonna, run. And I won the 50 and I won the 100 meters, competing against women who actually knew what they were doing.
Well, obviously, newsflash there, Madonna. You
Yes.
obviously then certainly knew what you were doing too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
just don't realize sometimes that we know what we're doing.
Well, here I am. Never done this before in my life. Turns out I'm good at it. And what was interesting was that the ladies I competed against at the finish line, they were like, oh, okay. People wanted to know, what club are you with and this. Well, no, I just did this on a whim. And they said, you should try out next year because you could go to nationals. And I'm thinking, oh, nationals? People who are listening, when you and I've seen people do this too. When people find out they're good at something that they didn't know they were good at, sometimes, especially women, they don't believe, like, what? Nationals? You think I should go to nationals? Am I good enough to go? Well, maybe I don't know about that. Me? See that doubt that comes in?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that if I had been a man doing this for the first time, a man would have said, well, shoot, okay, let's rock and roll. Let's go to nationals. Okay,
Yeah.
what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
looking back now, I can see how I was doubting myself
Mm,
when other people who run all the time and run around the United States
right.
can, walk up to me and say,
Yeah.
you need to go to nationals.
What was a pivotal moment, and maybe that's a great, cue point for people listening. When you say, I was doubting myself, and then there was a switch. What is it that you look back at where you say, you know what, that really kind of encouraged me? That's looking back at exactly what I needed then. Was it your husband encouraging you to push further? Was it the people who said, oh my God, you should do that next year? What happened in your ecosystem and the people around you that allowed you to kind of go to that next level then?
It was both. It was both the people who were excited. When your competitors
Yep.
are excited
Yep.
for you and
Yep.
tell you
Yep.
that, come back next year. Excuse me. It's a qualifying year.
Yep.
You can qualify for nationals.
Yep.
And I mentioned that to my husband, who already believed in me, or else he
Right.
wouldn't have said, come on, let's go, get that
Yep.
backpack full
Yep.
of bricks and let's go. So it was a combination of both. I competed the following year and I made it to nationals in 2023 in Cleveland, Ohio. Off my husband and I went. The following year in 2024, I was competing again. And while I was competing, I heard this loud noise.
I think you just went into the future, Madonna. 2024, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2014.
2014.
Yeah,
I was
because
going
I
to say,
started in
we're future
2011.
talking. I mean, I'm sure you're going to go there again. But, right?
Okay.
2014.
Thank you. Thank you for reeling me back, darling. So anyway, 2014, I was racing, heard a loud pop, and it was my Achilles. Oh my goodness, everything went dark. I fainted over the finish line in second place, woke up looking at the sky. I was on the table, and the and the volunteer medical people said, "You're not racing anymore today, Madonna. You have ruptured your Achilles." Well, I was out of the game for 3 years, but let me tell you, folks, my surgeon said, and I think I was 62 at the time, that because of my age and because I had severely ruptured my Achilles, I would not have that explosive speed that you need to take off to be a sprinter. Well, I'll tell you something. After that 3 years, I got back in the game in 2017, and I won the 50 and the 100 meters. I did.
Take that, Mr. Surgeon.
Take that, Mr. Surgeon. Also in 2017, that was my husband's first bout with cancer. His very first bout. In 2018, I qualified for nationals again. And my husband, during 2018, had 2 more bouts of cancer. And in November of 2018, he was terminal and had to go into hospice care. And he wanted me to keep running. That was his last request to me, was to keep running. And in order to honor his request, I would need a new coach. I went shopping. I went shopping.
I love it. I went shopping.
Interviewed 2 boomers, a male and a female. The one female boomer, I met her while I was rehabbing. Then reached out to her, but she was busy, too busy to coach me. But she says, I know someone. I know someone. He's an Olympic hopeful. And he still is an Olympic hopeful for 2024 Paris. And he went to the University of Oregon. He's been an All-American 8 times, NCAA champion 5 times, Pac-12 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And when he was in high school, he was a national champion as well as state champion, and was in the Junior Olympics, brought back some hardware. Can I give him your telephone number so he can call you? And I said, you had me at
Olympics.
Hopeful.
I love it. I love it.
Whoa.
I love it.
And ladies and gentlemen, when I retired from teaching, I was teaching millennials. Now I have a millennial who is teaching me.
I love this.
Life takes funny turns.
Yeah, but you know what? This is fantastic. First of all, I want to, thank you for sharing. I know this is still, fresh in heart with your husband passing, and thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing this in your journey. And I think what's so interesting is, as you talk about your coach now, there's obviously, and I say this with great respect to your husband. You said earlier there's the old style and there's the new style. What is some of the things where you got the inspiration, you got the push from your husband, but now you're getting maybe more the technique, I would imagine, and
Yes.
the efficiency of training, right? Smarter, not harder. What are some of the things? And I think it's important, right? I mean, you're in my generation. We were I say this to people a lot. Community didn't really exist. You didn't know something, go back and go study. There was no permission to reach out and ask other people for help. That just didn't exist. Go back and learn. Go to the library. Go do this. Internet wasn't existing where you could reach out to social media or a community online where you say, hey, I got this problem and what am I going to do? Or Dr. Google in the context of sport, rehab, or whatever else may be. Not that that's a good thing all the time because we make ourselves crazy with that. But I would imagine there are some things that are very, very relatable to you where you say, you know what, those 1, 2 things, lessons, which are maybe specific, but also generic in a sense, those were significant for me in regards to training smarter versus harder.
With my new coach, you are right about learning about techniques and mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
When my coach, Marcus, started to train me, it was a favor to help this older woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a professional, he was coaching younger people and high school people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now there's this, could you help this older lady out? Could you help her out? And he's not going to say no.
Sure.
But it's a favor. I was wondering, what in the world did I get myself into? Because the transition of what he had me doing, the mechanics of doing A steps, which anybody in track and field, you know what A steps are. You have to skip and it looks like you're marching, whatever. And having to do all these repetitions of running 20 meters and then you got to run as fast as you can 40 meters and then 60 meters, 80 meters, and then 120 meters running as fast as I can. What? This stuff is killing me. And I'm going to be honest.
Are you a whiner? Are you a whiner when you train?
Well, I almost was.
Honest, come on, tell us.
Wait, I almost was, but I had to nip it in the bud. Those of you who are used to doing something and you're set in your way, because I was used to my husband, okay, do this, do that. And with the new kid and how he's trained with one day you're lifting weights and you're doing this, and then you're on the track doing all these repetitions all the time. That was all new to me. And I was wondering, what the hell did I get myself into? And I know I wanted a coach to, tweak me to get me ready, but I wasn't quite ready for this huge transition between the two. And I had to talk sense into myself. Now I'm a field general. I've been in retail management training where you have to get the troops together to reach the goal of the company, which is, of course, we're selling, sell. And it doesn't matter if you had a good season that, we sold all this stuff. Guess what? We now have to gear up and there's another goal and we have to continue selling even more because now we have to beat our figures.
Right.
We've got, we've got to beat our figures. We've got to beat our season. And the field general, had to talk to herself and say, what the hell are you whining about? Look at you. You needed a coach. You have one of the fastest men in the world in the 400 meters as your coach. He has volunteered to help you one day a week for an hour as a favor to this other woman that you wanted to be a coach, and she's a world-class masters athlete. What the heck is wrong with you? You see, you have to put things into perspective
Right.
because I know as an instructor, there were times when I saw this perfect opportunity for one of my students to take
Mhm.
advantage of,
Mhm.
and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Let their friends talk themselves out of
Yeah.
it. And
Yep.
here I am.
Yep. Talking yourself out of it. What are when you I mean, competing is a tough thing, and I relate to that. So when you are in these moments when you want to give up, when you kind of push yourself to this limit where it's no longer comfortable, and that's where growth happens. We talk about this all the time, but it's easier said than done oftentimes. What
Yes.
is it? What do you is there maybe a story you tell yourself or a way you motivate yourself that when our people listening here on Raw Rants makes them relatable to that, and they can say, oh, next time that happens to me, or next time I'm in a situation like this, here's how I can kind of circumnavigate my own limitations, so to speak. Is there something in particular, a practice or a mantra or a word or a sentence or something you do that helps you kind of reach that next level of not just challenging yourself, but ultimately letting go of that self-limiting, syndrome?
There's actually there's actually two things. The first, I think about all the crap I've been through in my life,
Mhm.
being bullied because of the color of my skin, and
Mhm.
how I can look back at that and see how it was a benefit to me because it toughened me up
Yep.
for other things that were going
Right.
to happen in my life. And I figure if I could go through day after day being in a situation where I'm the only black kid in my in my classroom, in a school that only had 3 black kids in it,
Mhm.
in an entire elementary school, and then the same kind of situation throughout junior high school and high school. I just say, if I could go through that, I can suck it up and do this.
Hmm.
And there was a second thing, a pivotal moment with my coach and I, where I was so angry and I hated him. Uh, I had just come back from competing in New Mexico, and Marcus had decided to continue to be my coach. And he was getting me ready for another race in Washington State. And this was maybe a month after I'd come back from New Mexico. For those of you who live in New Mexico, you already know this. The altitude
Mhm.
is, oh my gosh, it is so way above sea level. In Seattle, the sea level, we're 350 feet above sea level. In New Mexico, it's 10 times that much. So I had to learn how to breathe. And it's hot. So anyway, I learned how to breathe. But when I came back to Tacoma and we were getting ready for this next race, I was having difficulty breathing. I thought because I was back in Tacoma that I would be breathing the same way, but I wasn't.
Hmm.
And so I scared myself, like, how come I can't breathe? How come I can't breathe? Do you know what I mean? Because he's got me
Yep.
doing all these
Yep.
drills. Run 60 meters as fast as you can. Run 80 meters as fast as you can, like 6 times, or 8 times. And then run 120 meters as fast as you can. And I was having difficulty breathing. And here he is perched up on a bleacher with his stopwatch. And I have so much recovery time. Those of you in track and field know that you've
Mhm.
got about 30 seconds or 15 seconds recovery time. And I just couldn't do it. I'm bent over. I can't breathe. He hops down off the fence. He's standing over me, trying to help me breathe. And I wanted to slap the living crap out of him. If I could have breathed, if I could, I would do it. And he said, come on, come on, come on. You're going to do this. You've got 6 more to do. Come on, get up and do it. He wasn't yelling at me. He just said, come on, get up and do it. And at that moment, I didn't want to do it, but I knew I had to do it.
Right.
And I did it. And then I laid out on the grass next to a sign that said, stay off the grass. The grass, the green in the middle of the track. And I said, I don't care. Come arrest me. Come arrest this Black woman laying on the grass who's next to the sign that says, stay off the grass, because I just needed that recovery time.
Right.
And so I just mustered up and I did it, didn't want to do it, didn't think I could do it, and I did it. And sometimes in life, you get to a point where you say, I just can't do it. And somebody is telling you, your mom, your dad, your coach, your best friend, come on, you can get up. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can. You're not going to like it. It's going to hurt, but get up and do it.
Yeah.
And that's also putting trust in my coach too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's such a good story. I love this. I wanted to punch him. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thanks for sharing that whole story. So what's next on the track horizon? What's the next big competitions you're going to?
In July of this year, I qualified in the 50 and the 100 to compete in nationals again.
Congratulations.
In Pittsburgh, 2023 Pittsburgh. I'm in training for that. Now I am rehabbing and and we'll get into the intense training in November. Now the National Senior Games are every 2 years, but because of COVID, they were back to back. So 2023 is, like I said, is the next national, and then the next national after that will be 2025. So right now, like I said, I'm rehabbing
Nationals is the big thing.
my abdominal muscles, and then July 2023, Pittsburgh, coaching up.
Here we come. Guys, go see Madonna in Pittsburgh, killing it and being the national champion. So I got to ask the question: do you think you can do it, the national championship?
Am I going to be able to do it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got a good team. I have a massage therapist and I have a physical therapist, which in a few hours I will be. He will be assisting me. And what I didn't know is that when you first start sprinting, when you first start competing, now, didn't you run track and field?
Yeah, 800 and 1500.
Okay, the long distance. When you're running the fast distances back to back to back, which I did for the first time with my millennial coach who helped me to move up the ranks. Well, your muscles say, we've never done this before, back to back, running as fast as we can 4 times in a row, day after day after day. So this is new for us. So my muscles went, okay, we did this. And right after the last race, the 4x100, my muscles said, this is it. Crawl back to Seattle. Crawl. We don't have anything else for you. Right. And so now I'm rehabbing. Now I ran in July, and now I am resting the muscles again before I get back into training. And there are things that you find out when you do something new, and that's one of the things,
Yeah.
and
No, I
I'll
can
get
imagine.
through it. I'll
I can
get through it.
imagine. That is such a cool story. I love this so much, guys. You're listening. I mean, it's such a cool story. Now, one thing before we go, because I know you shared this with me, and I gotta ask the question. You ready?
I'm ready.
You said to me also that you are an actress.
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell us about that little venture of yours.
Yes. I started acting when I was in high school, but my darlings, because of the color of my skin, my parts were limited. Couldn't be anybody's sister, mother, or anything like that. But I tried out for parts anyway, knowing that, yeah, I know I'm good and I know you're not going to pick me, but I'm here anyway. That's that competitive spirit in me.
Yeah.
At the age of 65, I started acting in community theater.
Love it.
And last year, I actually got to play the mother of a white boy. And it was so, it meant so much to me. And I told the director and the entire cast about how it was for me in high school, that this never would have happened.
Mm.
I never would have been casted as a little white boy's mother, and then it was like redemption, like,
Yeah.
yes, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
that's another thing for your listeners too, that sometimes when something, from the past or something you've had in your heart all the time, just seems so impossible. Yeah, just give it some time. Look at me. I got
No,
to
I
play
love that. I
my
love that.
kids'
Now,
mother.
any productions coming up for you on the theater side as well?
Um, Not this year because of some other activities that I'm involved with came up, and with me going into training intensely in November, that window for me to participate has
I love it.
closed
So I
because
gotta, I gotta get a promise from you. When you win the national championship, you better come back to Raw Rants.
oh, I will. I'll let you know.
We got to do that.
Yes.
If people want to connect with you, Madonna, is there a good way to connect with you? How do you want them? If they want to hear more about you, they want to get this infectious spirit of you, and the inspiration, and they have more questions, or just want to connect with you to have a chat. How do they connect with you?
They can email me at madfashion2001 at yahoo.com.
Mad Fashion at
Mad.
Mad Fashion 2001 at yahoo.com.
Yes.
I love
And
this.
they can go to my Instagram account, which is Madonna Fit, Fast, and Fabulous.
That is
That is,
beautiful. That's what we're going to put out there. Madonna, fit, fast, and fabulous.
yes.
That kind of sums you up, anyways.
It does, darling, doesn't
It
it?
does. It does. Madonna, I warned you of this, right? When this music plays, we're out of time.
Yes.
But I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You've been, and I honestly mean this, you have incredible energy. You're such a positive spirit. I can see the toughness and the feel general. But you've been really an inspiration for me as well. And I'm hoping all of you guys listening, new friends, old friends, maybe she's helped all of you listening who are new friends to come back to become old friends. And when Madonna is in 2023 in Pittsburgh, competing in the national championships, and she's going to kill that title, check. She's going to come back to Raw Rants. I want to say thank you. Guys, I want to say thank you to all the old friends. It's been a pleasure. Madonna, it's been a pleasure hosting you. And my name is Stefan Thuringer. I hope that you're going to hit that subscribe button to the podcast. We're on all major platforms. I'm immensely, immensely grateful. One thing I want to share with all of you is this. every Thursday morning, if you are somebody who likes to be self-reflective and likes to be somebody who ultimately talks about the stuff that we don't talk in other networking groups with, I'm hosting every Thursday morning something that is called the Inspirational Coffee Chat on Inspirational Thursdays. It's free to attend. There's no fee. It's been a group that's traveled with me for the last 2 years since COVID, about April, May of 2019. No, when was COVID? I already forgot. In 2020. That's when COVID happened and all shit hit the fan. And we all were seeking belonging, community, and talking about the stuff that we normally don't talk about. So that is the group. I would really invite you to be there. You'll find the information on LinkedIn. Connect with me on social media as well. If that's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or wherever else you are, Instagram as well, wherever you get your social media fix. Follow us on Raw Rants. And here's only one thing really left for Madonna and I to do. That is, besides that, we're going to dance it out. I mean, I can't follow that, right? But besides that, we're going to dance it out. The last thing that's left when we go out of Raw Rants is Stefan and Madonna, and we're out. We got to see you move a little more. This is so good. Now we're going to do all the silly stuff now. Running out of time. It's rough to make you shine. It takes away my life. I could run from